John. The
Yeah, I
busting
mean
balloons.
the cities, you can live with balloons.
Yeah, I
Hands
know.
off,
I mean, come
hands
on.
off my balloons.
You gotta draw a line somewhere, man. So hey, everybody out there, welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. It's Andy, it's John, and it's Viewer Request Friday here at the Audiophiles. And you know what that means? That means on this day, it's Homer Simpson 8087's day at the plate. He has offered us up something, our boy Homie. Don't. He offered us up this track on our Dave Matthews Band Warehouse video and suggested that we give it a listen on the channel. Now, you and I have talked about this. Full disclosure, I am beyond familiar with this track and this album. In fact, I think it may have been on the Dave Matthews Band reaction that I mentioned that two of the first albums I was ever gifted as probably like a 10 or 11-year-old were Under the Table and Dreaming by Dave Matthews Band and this album 4 by Blues Traveler. And so we're going to listen to a track off of that album, and that track that has been offered up by Homer is The Hook. Now, you, John, is refresh me because I know you're not familiar with the song. That's why you're doing this. But how familiar are you, if at all, are you with the band Blues Traveler?
No, it's just one of those names you hear loads, but I don't reckon I've heard any of their stuff. But it's if you said, have you heard of the band Blues Traveler? Yeah, of course I have. Name one of their songs.
Right. It's okay. Well, now moving forward, you'll be able to say, oh yeah, Blues Traveler, I know them, and The Hook. So go off, give this a listen, and come back and let me know what you think of it.
Well, this is a lovely start, isn't it? It's very laid back. It's quite sort of breezy and chipper in its way. I'm getting vibes of, definitely classic 70s classic rock, but also this could be like a TV theme tune to some sort of like, I was getting like a sort of family quirky sitcom-y thing, and then the blues harp, the harmonica come in, and for some reason I just started thinking trucking. I've no idea what the tune to the program is. It's a program that popped in my head, BJ and the Bear. I think I must have seen it about twice when I was about 8, but I can imagine this being closing credits. Yeah, it's got a breeziness to it, and yeah, it's nice. It's nice to hear harmonica, definitely. Quite punchy.
It doesn't matter what I say, as long as I sing within flesh that makes you feel like I'm some inner truth of that's reflection. But
Yes, he's doing a line and doing another line where he ends with a long note, and when he does that, the bass is doing a little run. It's a really nice sort of. The bass is doing a great job, actually. Yeah.
said nothing so far, and I can keep it up as long as it takes, and it don't matter who you are. If I'm doing my job, it's yours all that breaks, 'cause the hook brings you
Okay, so we've got a verse and a chorus into the second verse now. It's very sort of chilled, almost radio friendly kind of stuff. He's got a decent voice. It's one of those ones where he's putting emphasis on certain things, and some of it's like what I call like nostril singing. And other times it's kind of there's a bit of the back of throat raspy nature to it. There's a bit of the old hunch shoulders squeezing out. I don't mind any of that. It's nice for someone to put a bit of effort into the vocals like that. On first listen, it's hard to catch all the words. I was thinking something about the hook brings you back, and something about I ain't telling no lies. There's the odd words as well. I was just jotting down. It makes me feel there's perhaps a bit of bite to the lyrics on this, but I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, a decent voice. It's more, dare I say, sort of coffee shop blues than Delta blues. Um, this is really quite radio friendly and quite mainstream, I would say. It feels that mid-90s. I know person who recommended this was from Dave Matthews one, and I can see the correlation between the two sounds. The band that's popping into my head for some reason is Spin Doctors. It's that same sort of sound or approach. Yeah. Okay, let's see what it goes.
I am being insincere. In fact, I don't
Loving that bass.
any of this. Still, my confession draws you near to confuse the issue or refer familiar heroes from long ago. No matter how much Peter loves her, what made the pan refuse to grow was that the heart brings you back. I ain't telling you no lie. The heart brings you back. On that you can rely. Suck it in if you're in Tintin or in Berlin. Make it a spin move or else you'll win. And then begin to see what you're doing to me. This MTV is not for free. It's OPC is killing me. So desperately I'll sing the other love. Sure, but I'm so raging, hating, pain, and fear itself. And I can't keep these feelings on the shelf. I've tried, well, no doubt I lied. It'd be frank to suicide, but I got too much pride inside to hide or slide. I'll do as I'll decide and let it ride until I've died. And only then shall I abide this try to catch little tunes of 50-minute ditties. I wanna bust all your balloons. I wanna burn all of your cities to the ground. I found I will not mess around unless I play. Then hey, I will go on all day. Hear what I say, I have a prayer to pray. That's really all this was. When I'm feeling stuck in the fuck, I don't rely on luck because the heart brings back. I ain't telling you no lie. Oh, that you can
There's a wah, 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 wah ending. Um, Yeah, that was very interesting. That harmonica solo. I'm no expert on blues harp, but it had more of that sort of drawing sound, which gives it quite often a sharpness to it, and it was very um, sharp and short. The notes, it almost became sounding like it was almost like pipes, sort of small metallic pipes. That sort of pitchiness to them, and then we get into this rap-esque type rant. I I was catching bits and pieces all right down, but it seemed to be almost, I don't know. I've got a hint of sarcasm about it, and it sort of built and built, and I'm not catching the words at all at this point. He's just rambling on, and his mates as well, and but I'm getting building of anger is what I was feeling from it anyway. Um, yeah, and then he sort of did another I'm not lying. I intend no lie, sorry. Really throaty, and that sounded good. And then he did a little bit of sort of vocalizing, and I really like that. It could have done a lot more of that, actually, to be honest with you, and then obviously it finished. So yeah, decent song. It's nice. It's a bit sort of radio friendly for me, that sort of mid 90s. Yeah. At the time, I'd have run a million miles of this sort of sound, to be honest with you. But I was more angry young man back then, and yeah, you taste broaden, don't they? But yeah, I don't mind this at all. It's decent enough. Yeah, I guess we need to know a bit more as Blues Traveller. We need to know a bit more about them. I do anyway. So best go back and find the man with the plan, and that is Andy.
All right, welcome back from your travels. What do you make? What do you make of this tune by Blues Traveler?
So it's interesting, the title straight away makes me think of a musical Hook, and also musically Peter Hook, as of Joy Division and New Order, and then Captain Hook. Maybe not Abu Hamza El Masri. I don't know if you know about him.
No.
He was something of a little sidebar here. We'll get back to the song. He was something of a bête noire for the tabloid press. He was a Islamic fundamentalist turned terrorist, probably. He was arrested and subject to a lot of court cases before finally being deported to America, where he was tried and found guilty and sent away for life. But he was nicknamed Captain Hook because one of the things he dabbled with was explosives, but not very well. He blew off both his hands, and so it was a great sort of image for the red meat of the tabloid press to throw out. Anyway, Hook, there you go.
Yeah.
But also, I suddenly, when you said it, I just had this mental image of the giant comical hook that comes off the side of the stage to remove unsuccessful acts.
Yeah.
And it's always quite sort of funny and massive and red stripes, red and white stripes. Off it goes. Anyway, none of that in this, but that's, that's why my head started anyway. So this starts with a nice guitar strum and some decent bass work underneath. And very quickly, the melody to this, it's really quite gentle and breezy, and it kind of put me in mind straight away of like a TV theme tune about some wholesome family, where all the shenanigans that ensue. But it was giving off these huge sort of classic, sort of 70s classic rock vibes. That's what I was getting. And then in comes this really sort of breathy harmonica. And I don't know why it's associated with my head, but all of a sudden it switched from family sitcom to trucking show. The adventures of a trucker. And so I imagine that this sound, this very first 20, 30 seconds, is what the closing credits to BJ and the Bear sound like. Even though, in fairness, I have absolutely no idea what the theme tune to that is. I probably saw 1.5 episodes when I was 10 years old, but the name always stuck. But anyway, in comes the singer. And I think his first line is, "It doesn't matter what I say," which I think is quite an interesting opening. It's pretty
Yeah.
much just sort of "Call Me Ishmael" type opening. He has a decent voice, with a touch of the old nostrils. I don't, if you know what I mean about the
Yeah.
way some people sing, but also a bit of hunched shoulders and a bit of rasp as well. So he's got different sort of bits to him. No, he has got a decent voice though. So we sing along. It's very gentle-ish, and it has this sort of lolloping pace to it. Um, and then the chorus arrives, and there's some really nice harmonies. And he sings "The Hook Brings You Back," I think, and then there's another line: "I ain't telling you no lies." Although he's got a great voice and a good delivery, I think when he's pushing some of the words and adding a bit of emphasis in that, I do lose a bit of the diction to my ear.
Mm-hmm.
On first listen as well. But I don't mind that because I like to see someone putting something into the vocal delivery rather than just reading it off a hymn sheet or whatever. So,
Yeah.
it means I don't understand what the hell's going on, but I enjoy it nonetheless, which is the story of my life, pretty much 24/7. So yeah, really enjoying. So he sings like in couplets. He'll sing a line, then he'll sing the second line of that couplet with an extended note at the end. And while he's doing that, the bass does a little run every
Mm-hmm.
time. It's just that. I'm really enjoying the bass work by this point. It kind of sticks to that formula in most parts of the bass, but it that's the one instrument that's pinging out to my ears, and I feel absolute shame in saying it. Bloody bass. But there you go. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. And then we get into the second verse, and I'm getting the odd word. There was insincere and confuse the issue. With that aside for one moment, the whole thing seems like quite radio friendly type sound to it. And he's putting me in mind of mid-90s sort of stuff, similar. I see the correlation between this and what Homer Simpson suggested with Dave Matthews. I can see how they're in the same area, definitely. But also a band that kept popping into my head for no reason. It's not a band I listen to or indeed enjoy. Spin Doctors. So again, it's that same feel, They don't, it's not the same sound, but it's the same sort of feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that kept popping into my head. I do suspect there is some bite to the lyrics, but I'm not catching enough to know who, what, how, why.
Yeah.
But I feel it's there. So at the end of that, we get another chorus, and then we go into this perky little harmonica solo, which is very enjoyable, and it's great to hear harmonica of any sort. It's so rare nowadays, or them days even. It seemed to me, and I'm no expert. I know I've tried to play the harmonica myself over many years, and when the Saints come marching in, and that's about it. But it sounded the way you're playing it. There's more drawing than blowing, which gives that, as you probably know, this sort of sharper sound to it, and it's more succinct. All the notes are very tight, and it ends up as it progresses, almost sounding like it's been like metal pipes playing rather than the big pan pipes, but little small. It's that sort of like dynamics to the sound of it.
I would even say his approach to this harmonica, especially during this lead bit, which is I think where you're at, it almost sounds like lead guitar. Like the way he's playing this melody on the harmonica could easily translate to the way someone would write a conventional lead guitar for this otherwise guitar rock driven kind of song. You know what I mean? Which is really cool too.
Yeah, it's all with a harmonica. It's usually about the breath work, isn't it?
Yes.
And he's almost taken that away. Just this,
Mhm.
machine gun, notes. Again, it's really interesting and very different. Which is cool. So yeah, again, I'd say the sounding with us though is more coffee shop blues than Delta blues. Obviously, the
Mhm.
blues truffle is a wide encompassing thing, but it feels like this is. I don't know it, but I imagine hugely commercial. I think it hits that sort of sweet spot that would have mass appeal. It's my take on it. And then shock horror, we get this quickly scanned rap adjacent attempt for several lines, which starts off, this sort of very quick, and I hear suck it in, something like Tintin, and then music, MTV's not for free, and then I think around about that point I kind of gave up, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
but
I'll fill in the
it starts of blah, 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 and then it becomes more at the start it's almost like you feel like they're doing it for effect, and then it becomes more of a rant where it seems more natural the way they're singing it. The first like 4 lines doesn't feel natural, it feels more like effect, but it also feels like they're ramping it up. The sort of what would you call it, the accents from the drums and the guitars become more sort of pronounced. And I feel, and I'm not sure because I'm not getting the words, but it feels like it's coming from a place of almost sarcasm, which I could definitely relate to and appreciate. So you do get this sense as well of a touch of anger rising to his words. We can sort of get up through the delivery, and then he sort of he hollers, "I ain't telling no more lies again," properly from the back of his throat, which I really liked. It then goes into a little bit, a very, very short bit of vocalizing. And I really like that, actually. And he could have done that for a lot longer, and I would have been happy with that. Because there's something really nice about the way he was doing it, but it was very short and sweet. And then we sort of plow down, and it ends with this harmonica trope, wah, 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 which you get at the end of the song. So, yeah, all in all, I thought this was a decent song. It was enjoyable. Not really my thing, I would say. I think I said in the reaction, I would suggest this sounds to me like mid-90s from all I remember about Blues Traveling, the name being around. And this would be the sort of song that I wouldn't have touched with a barge pole when I was in the mid-90s. Being, an angry young man that was into Sonic Youth and noise and other stuff and things like that. But as you sort of get older, your tastes widen and you don't become so tribal anymore about music and things like that. So I appreciate it and enjoy it. So yeah, it was a decent song for me. I'm interested to know a bit more about the lyrics. Does it feel like it was weighted, but I didn't catch them?
Yeah. And we will get into those. I'll discuss the band a little bit, some of their backstory, and then we'll get into the song. But I would say that what this song is about probably would have made the 20 years younger, more cynical John smile and be heartened by what the song is actually about, because it's about all the things that you were against. And we'll get into that in detail as we progress. But yes, Blues Traveler is an American rock band that formed in Princeton, New Jersey in 1987. The group comprises singer and harmonica player John Popper, guitarist Chan Kinchla, drummer Brendan Hill, bassist Tad Kinchla, and keyboardist Ben Wilson. Tad Kinchla and Ben Wilson joined the band following the death of the original bass player, Bobby Sheehan, who passed away in 1999. The band has been described as blues rock, folk rock, alt rock, and southern rock, and the band has released 15 studio albums to this point. After graduating from Princeton High School and moving to New York City, Popper, Hill, and Sheehan enrolled in the music program at the New School in Manhattan, while Kinchla attended New York University. Blues Traveler began playing gigs along the New York area club circuit, sometimes nightly. The most prominent contract was playing Wednesday nights at a club called the Wetlands. Another bar, the Nightingale, was a regular gig and later became the setting for the song Defense and Desire. The group shared an apartment on Bergen Street in Brooklyn, New York, along with their high school friend, singer Chris Barron. A second band that Popper and Hill founded, called the Trucking Company, soon became the Spin Doctors, with Barron as their frontman. So they kind of relinquished that band for Barron. So it's so funny that you had mentioned
I know nothing about them.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's one of those moments where I'm like, that sounded like Clapton playing on that George Harrison song, and you're like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Clapton playing on that George
It
Harrison.
was.
Yeah, yeah, just one of those holy shit moments. So yeah, at one New York show, they were discovered by an A&M Records talent scout, Patrick Clifford, and the band signed their first recording contract. In 1990, all members had dropped out of their college classes. The group also attracted the attention of David Graham, the son of world famous concert promoter Bill Graham, and Dave Graham became the group's manager. Blues Traveler then started a relentless touring schedule, expanding their reach up and down the East Coast. Blues Traveler released their self-titled debut album in 1990 with the song But Anyway getting airplay on college radio stations. The album included Joan Osborne on backing vocals on 2 of the tracks. The second album, Travelers and Thieves, followed in 1991. Upon Bill Graham's death that year, they released a live EP, On Tour Forever, as a tribute to Graham, which featured guitarist Carlos Santana. Around the time the mainstream national audience was exposed, around this time, the mainstream national audience was exposed to Blues Traveler by television host David Letterman, who introduced the band on his show as his favorite band. The band has since made more appearances on the Late Show and then more than any musical artist. Letterman's band leader Paul Schaefer featured on a number of the Blues Traveler records, actually. So I think he played keyboard for a while for them until I think post 99 was when they replaced their bassist and brought in a keyboardist.
Good old Uncle Dave.
Yep.
The band leader, is that the short guy that I
The
always
bald guy that kind of always
with
interacts.
Baptist?
Yeah, the circular
Yeah.
glasses. Yeah, yeah. And you'll notice that he and the band will oftentimes join an act if they coordinate with them, and then they all sort of.
I have a track for you, which is live and Letterman, which has half of the band and half of Letterman's band playing.
Oh, excellent. Well, I have one in the near future that features the Letterman band and a choir joining the band that plays on stage. So very cool. Good old Uncle Dave. More of him in the future. And I look forward to that. I love watching Letterman performances. So in 1992, the group founded the Horde Festival as an alternative to others such as Lollapalooza, along with other bands such as Fish and the Spin Doctors. Blues Traveler began recording their third album, Save His Soul. Recording was temporarily interrupted by John Popper's motorcycle accident, although the band resumed touring shortly thereafter, with Popper performing in a wheelchair. 2 singles. It reminds me of when Dave Grohl broke his ankle a few years ago, and he was just up there on stage playing guitar in a wheelchair.
Yeah, and Florence a Machine when she broke her leg.
Yes.
It seemed like she had that cast of plaster on her leg for about 3 years. It just seemed to never come off.
So 2 singles released from the album were Defense and Desire, which I mentioned earlier, and Conquer Me, which reached number 34 on the mainstream rock track charts. The band's 4th album, titled 4, was released on September 13th, 1994. The upbeat pop song Runaround became the first chart hit, followed by Hook. Runaround won a Grammy Award and broke a record for the most weeks on the chart. In the wake of the album's release, Blues Traveler appeared at Woodstock 94 and later became an opening act for the Rolling Stones. And the band played on the 1995 season premiere of Saturday Night Live as a last-minute replacement for Prince. And I think you had mentioned him maybe in the last video. I remember there's an allusion to 1999, and you jumped on it. So 4 peaked at number 8 on the Billboard 200 chart, and its hit Runaround and Hook charted at number 8 and number 23, respectively, on the Billboard Hot 100. Both songs also charted in the top 20 on the mainstream rock and modern rock charts. And according to RIAA, the album is certified as 6 times platinum, 6 million copies sold in the US alone. Okay, I'm going to jump into these lyrics, and I'm going to get further into the song a little bit, into the weeds here. So, it doesn't matter what I say, as long as I sing with inflection. That makes you feel I'll convey some inner truth or vast reflection. But I've said nothing so far, and I can keep it up for as long as it takes. And it don't matter who you are. If I'm doing my job, it's your resolve that breaks, because the hook brings you back. I ain't telling you no lie. The hook brings you back. On that you can rely. There is something amiss. I am being insincere. In fact, I don't mean any of this. Still, my confession draws you near. To confuse the issue, I'll refer to familiar heroes from long ago. No matter how much Peter loved her, what made the pan refuse to grow was that the hook brings you back. I ain't telling you no lie. The hook brings you back. On that you can rely. Harmonica. Suck it in, suck it in, suck it in. If you're Rin Tin Tin or Anne Boleyn, make a desperate move or else you'll win, and then begin to see what you're doing to me. This MTV is not for free. It's so PC, it's killing me. So desperately I'll sing to thee of love, sure, but also rage and hate and pain and fear of self. And I can't keep these feelings on the shelf. I've tried. Well, no, in fact, I lied. Could be a financial suicide, but I've got too much pride inside to hide or slide. I'll do as I decide and let it ride until I've died. And only then shall I abide this tide of catchy little tunes, of hip 3-minute ditties. I want to bust all your balloons. I want to burn all of your cities to the ground. I found I will not mess around unless I play. Then hey, I will go on all day. Hear what I say. I have a prayer to pray. That's really all this was. And when I'm feeling stuck and need a buck, I don't rely on luck because the hook brings you back. I ain't telling you no lie. The hook, on that you can rely. So, the
He
title
was right. He is getting a bit angry because he just said, "I'll burn your cities to the ground." So, you know,
yeah, well, not to
I
mention the
didn't even know he said that.
balloons, John. The
Oh, yeah, I
busting
mean,
balloons.
the cities, you know, you can live with, but balloons.
Yeah, I
Hands
know.
off,
I mean, come
hands
on.
off my balloons.
You gotta draw a line somewhere, man. So the title of the song is a reference to the term hook. You know, a hook is a musical idea, oftentimes a short riff, passage, or phrase that is used in popular music to make a song appealing and to catch the ear of the listener. The lyrics are commentary on the banality and vacuousness of successful pop songs, making Hook both a hit song and a satire of a hit song. The chord progression of Hook is very similar to the basic structure of German composer Johann Pachelbel's Canon in D. D, A, B minor, F sharp minor, G, D, G, A, but transposed to the key of A major. The chord progression is widely used in popular music, often as a hook, leading to other satirical takes on the use of this chord structure. So he's using this very famous, maybe the first hook ever written to convey the story that's taking the piss out of, you know, pop songs. The first chorus of the song's lyrics aim directly at the listener, assert that the lyrical content of any song is effectively meaningless, since that's nice to know since we spend half our episodes on it, as the song's musical hook will keep the listener coming back, even if they are unaware of the reason. In the introduction, John Popper sings, "It doesn't matter what I say, so long as I sing it with inflection. That makes you feel that I'll convey some inner truth or vast reflection." The second verse admits that the singer is being insincere and describes how the lyrics are intended to manipulate the listener. These lyrics are a satirical take on the formulaic way much popular music is generated. Further on, during the bridge, the lyrics become even more blatant by criticizing MTV and claiming formulaic music is an easy way to make money. When I'm feeling stuck and need a buck, I don't rely on luck because the hook brings you back. The musically lazy chord structure viewed in the combination with the meta lyrics reveal the true extent of what a critic for the AV Club describes as the song's genius. The commentary is a big joke about how listeners will like just about anything laid on top of the chords of the infinitely cliched Pachelbel canon, even lyrics that openly mock them for liking it. The music video depicts a man channel surfing through late night television. He first watches a beauty pageant. Those contestants lip sync the song as the host interviews them. For the second verse, a character modeled after Charles Foster Kane lip syncs at a campaign rally. The band appears in each of these segments, then plays the bridge of the song in the man's apartment, with John Popper taking his place on the couch. During the final portion of the song, the man starts changing the channels quickly, often returning to see Paul Schaefer lip sync the lyrics and play keyboard with the band. Finally, the man turns off the TV set and starts to read a book about the American Civil War. So they even take the piss out of like the consumerism of pop music and pop culture and just the state of things in the 90s with the MTV and all that stuff. And I think this was also kind of a piss take out of the record label who was like, all right, boys, this is your fourth album or whatever. Like, let's create a pop song here so we can get over the hump. And this was their attempt at that. And they probably laughed all the way to the bank after this because, again, 6 times platinum, this album, in part because of a pop song that takes the piss out of pop songs. And labels who want to push it onto the public, you know, and the public who consumes it. So, yeah, I just always thought it was very funny and clever. And it's got a great fucking harmonica line. And you're right, his voice is, I don't know if anyone would describe it as perfect, but it is so unique and so uniquely him that it's fun to listen to because it's different. I mean, you've talked about when we do indie rock from the aughts, there are all these bands whose lead singer sounds it just sounds cut and paste, right? No one was really sounding like John Popper or has since. So, yeah, great pick by Homer Simpson, and I'm glad you gave it a listen, John. It was a lot of fun, man.
Definitely.
So, all that out of the way, guys out there in the listening audience, let us know what you made of this track, what you thought of the lyrics. If you could think of anything else that has kind of a similar biting commentary, I'm sure we've probably covered a couple things on the channel, and there's probably going to be more to come. But I always think it's funny when musicians use record labels' money to write songs that just takes the piss out of the industry. It's just funny to me, and like the AV Club writer had said, quite meta in its lyrics. So yeah. Feel free to let us know what you think down in the comments field below. We love interacting with you guys. Also, like, share, and subscribe if you'd be so inclined. We'd love interacting with you guys. And we really can't continue to do that and grow the channel without you guys liking, sharing, subscribing, and doing all the fun stuff that pleases the YouTube algorithm gods. So thank you so much. Also, if you want to drop a suggestion for future Fridays down in the field below, we've got an ever-growing list. It's the monster that eats and never dies, but we are always glad to tackle songs that you guys throw our way, so long as we are both not familiar with it. All that out of the way, hopefully John and I will see all y'all and more in growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. See you later, guys.